Ladies and gentlemen, now introducing award-winning journalist Stacey Wilson Hunt.
Good evening. Wasn't that fun? Yeah. So much fun to have fun again, isn't it? We like fun. So honored to be here, and we have so many wonderful people to speak to, so I'm going to bring them up right now. Starting with co-creator and executive producer, Jessi Bayer. This feels like an award show, except you're not winning anything. It's exciting. Executive producer and showrunner, Jessi Klein. And amazing cast members, Poonam Patel, Matt Rogers, Aiden Mayeri, Paul James, Molly Shannon, Jenifer Lewis, and the woman who made this all possible, co-creator, executive producer, and star, Vanessa Bayer. Very charming, funny, heartwarming series. Hi. I'm going to quickly ask each of you to share, in the spirit of the show, your most coveted object, because the show for me is about the objects and possessions that make us happy. So what object has given you joy, whether as a young person, your current self, anything in your life that has meant a lot to you? Matt, I'm going to start with you because I'm looking at you.
Because we're making eye contact.
Because I'm making eye
and
contact.
It was convenient for you.
Extremely convenient.
I have a ceramic chicken that I have had since I was in the 4th grade because the chicken was my favorite animal. And I've kept it. And it actually survived. Oh, this is insane that I'm going to share this. It survived an argument with my ex-boyfriend where he sort of, in like a show of emotion, went like that, and the chicken fell to the ground, and the chicken's beak came off, and I was like, you see the symbolism? We're no longer together.
That's so funny.
But the chicken is still there. He was good enough to glue the nose back on the chicken. I will always love Henry for that.
That's exactly the type of story I'd love people to share. Vanessa, how about you? It's exactly right on point.
I had a big jacket that got a lot of holes in the lining, and then once that happened, I could put things in my pocket like snacks or really anything I wanted to carry on my person, and it would just slide to the bottom of the coat, so that, like, you know, if I was going into a movie, I would be able to, like, pack my snacks in it, and I wouldn't have to pay for movie prices for snacks.
So somewhere there's a coat with, like, trail mix just in the inseam somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, recently they fixed the lining, and I was like, I just wanted you to clean it.
You can always cut those holes again.
Thank you.
Molly, how about you? Hi, Molly.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Wait, it's any, like, something we bought that brings
Just
us
any
joy?
possession that you have coveted for some reason, you've kept with you over the years, something that meant a lot to you.
Wait, can we move to somebody else? I'm just going to think of mine.
I suppose. Okay, Jessi, because she's next to you.
Yeah.
I didn't get a microphone.
Oh, Jessi!
So
You have to scream.
no, it feels cool. It's like a message. I'm, well, it's just so good because sitting next to Vanessa and Molly, I will say this is not really something I bought, but when I was in 5th grade, I got to go to. Oh my God. There we go. Oh, thank you so much. I got to go to SNL as an audience member, and I was so in awe of it that when I went to the bathroom, people are like, no, don't. No, but I took paper towels out of the bathroom, and I saved them. And I still have them in a box. Yeah.
So
So
weird
like,
and
that's
charming.
kind of creepy and gross.
Take her mic back.
I know I didn't get one.
That's very sweet.
That's what comes to mind.
And Paul, how about you?
Yeah, I had a pillow growing up from like 3 till college, and it was. I had a girlfriend in college who was like, "What's happening with this pillow?" We took the pillowcase off, and it was covered in stains and had duct tape and staples on the side from when I tried to fix it. And she was like, "You can't keep the pillows this long. They have like germs and stuff in them." So then I got rid of the pillow, but from 3 till college, that was my. And the pillowcase whenever I would get sick, I would put the end part on my nose because it would provide relief. Like when you had a cold, just like put that pillowcase on your nose.
Yeah, you got to throw that out.
This is an interesting gamut of responses tonight.
I don't have any of that. I threw all that away.
Thank you. Jenifer, how about you?
I've had some time to think. I have a radio that I bought in college, a little small town in St. Louis, Missouri, called Webster Groves. And I went into a Radio Shack, and it's about this big. It's, I don't know, but it still plays. It's like, and I took it on tour with me. I actually packed it. I packed that big radio and took it on tour with me because it had the roll numbers, and it's broken. That part's broken. And there's a little roach in there from a Motel 6 that I stayed in on tour. I was about 20-something.
It's a lot of unsanitary
I'm
items.
sorry.
On the
It's
stage.
had a little roach in it, and it's still playing.
Okay, Jeremy.
I don't think I have anything great, but I think I just, the first thing that came to my mind was my coffee grinder and like a Chemex. It's a very snobby answer. That's just the thing that I will have forever.
It's totally
my
fair.
Like fresh ground coffee. Okay, I'm
Thank
going
you.
home now.
And Poonam, how about you?
I have a frame picture of a glamour shot I got when I was in 3rd grade. And I was like really, really chubby, but I thought I was such hot shit. And like, you had to buy $75 worth of Estee Lauder products at the Belk Lindsay, and I begged my immigrant mom. I was like, please, please. She'd never spent $75 on anything, and she was like, okay, fine, calm down. And I was in this like weird lace sash and these like clip-on pearl earrings, and it's like a purple faded background, and I'm just like. But I always like to put that on display because that's like the hot shit energy I want to carry throughout my entire life.
And Aiden.
Well, I like a lot of different little doodads, but I do carry like a little jar of dinosaur bones in my purse. And I know. Well, my husband, Miller, got them for me because I love dinosaurs. And they're like little fragments of bones from Utah during a time when T-Rex was rampant. So I choose to believe they're T-Rex bones, and they also give me hot shit energy.
When T-Rex was rampant.
I love that. Okay, Molly.
I thought of mine. I
Okay.
have 2 books that I love that I bought when I was a teenager in Cleveland, Ohio. Vanessa and I both grew up in Cleveland. And one is called A Very Young Model. You know how those like books, like a portrait. And another one is called The Brooke Book. And both were about young girls who became professional models in New York City. And I would just look at the portraits like, this is so cool. Like, they were like going on go-sees, and Eileen Ford repped them. And in the Brooke book, Brooke Shields had a momager named Terry Shields who was shrewd and got her out. And I was like, if only I could be like these models. You know, so I still have those books, and I love them. That's all. Yeah.
And I have to say, I have your memoir, and that's the book I'm coveting right now. Hello, Molly.
Yes.
Yeah, screw the chicken. That's mine
Screw
too.
the chicken.
I forget the chicken. Forget I said the chicken.
It's so good. Please read it. It's really wonderful. Okay, on to the task at hand. Vanessa, congratulations. Thank you. Fantastic work. I wanted to say thank you for telling a story about illness, but also a story about recovery, because these stories don't always have to be sad, and normalizing both experiences. And I know a lot of people in this room have probably struggled, had people in their families struggle and recover, and life goes on sometimes. So thank you for normalizing that, because it's rare that we see that. What were your biggest fears in sharing this part of yourself in this way? And what did you most enjoy about the research process? Because I hear you got to visit some similar companies and do some research in preparation for this television show.
Well, I wasn't really scared to tell this story. I mean, anyone who knows me knows I love to talk about when I had cancer. But I mean, I think, you know, when Jeremy and I were coming up with the show, I think we loved the idea that you go through these really difficult times and you know, obviously they're so hard, but also you get so many perks. And, you know, you get that special treatment that, like, once that difficult time is over, you're like, where's my special treatment, though? Right? And so we talked about that a lot, and I've always thought that would be a really interesting and fun way to talk about illness and stuff, is just that, you know, it is hard. It is, you know, but at the same time, there are things that you can do to sort of enjoy it, and things that you sort of, I truly feel that are, it's okay to do that stuff. It's okay to, you know, enjoy that treatment because, you know, you're going through a lot, and I think that's kind of a fun way of looking at it, and a way that I think really helped me deal with it. Now, to talk about your second question, I have always loved QVC, and I watched it when I was very little. I loved these hosts, Jane Tracy and Mary Beth Rowe, and I think Mary Beth Rowe's son is here tonight. So,
Really?
do you want to stand up? Is he? Is he here?
Show yourself.
Oh, he left. Okay, he maybe wasn't for him. But Jeremy and I, when we were first working on the show, it's really weird.
To each their own.
His mom followed up with me, but when we were first working on the show, my managers, Christy and Dan, organized this like VIP tour at QVC, and we got to not only take a tour of the whole place, but we also got to meet Mary Beth Rowe and Jane Tracy. And I can't remember what the rest of the question was, but that was so cool.
Really formative.
It was
for
really
both of us,
formative.
yes.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you again. Really fantastic. I LOL'd numerous times watching the pilot. It's really very funny. Well done. So Jeremy and Jessi, I want to sort of ask you a question in tandem. Each of you has many years working in sketch comedy rooms, whether it be Saturday Night Live, Inside Amy Schumer.
65 years.
65 years cumulatively. Each, exactly. And it's funny, watching the show, I see the DNA of sketch comedy kind of throughout, where some of the scenes can be standalone bits, were they to be just standalone bits. What's the toughest part of stringing along those sort of comedic moments, but with the through line of a tragic comedy, kind of concurrent? So tell me a little bit about the challenge of balancing those, because it seems like you really do love those super silly moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what initially drew us to the concept, was like the idea of going on air and selling a product in this container of home shopping is inherently so ridiculous and so funny, and the artifice is there, and it's so entertaining, so it kind of scratches that itch of sketch, and it feels like so fertile to be able to just dip into that at any time you want in the entire show. But obviously, as we start to build a show, you realize that that's not why you come back to a show and keep watching it. It's because you love the characters and you're attached to the people in it, and Jessi really helped us, like, you know, shape that aspect of it too, and we all together with our brilliant writers' room found not just like fun scenes, but also really amazing characters that we felt so attached to, that are like really brought to life more than we could ever imagine by this cast.
Agree. Agree. And also, I think the other key to the balance is just the performances of just all of the incredible actors on this stage, and how everybody brings, even in the silliest moments, like just to watch everybody walking this little tightrope of bringing really deep humanity to like every silly moment, and so that ideally you're feeling both things at the same time. It makes me tear up thinking about it. There's just so many moments where you're kind of laughing and also feeling so much at the same time. That's very magical to watch.
Agreed. Thank you. And Molly, hello again. So Jackie is so lovable, as pretty much any character you're playing is lovable. It's just who you are and what you bring to the stage. What do you relate to in terms of where Jackie is in her life and career? Because she's been in the public eye for 30 years. She's in this transition phase in her personal life. She's trying to maintain relevance at work. Did this mirror your feelings as an actor and sort of this constant reinvention pressure that actors feel? Did that feel resonant for you?
Let me me see.
Or no.
Not really. I don't think I really related to that aspect, but I think it's interesting, like, that Vanessa and I were both at Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting that, I was there before Vanessa, and then Vanessa was after me, and we're both from Cleveland. I was like, this is interesting casting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I more thought about that aspect.
It's
of
funny
it,
because
that
there were
I'm-
scenes where I felt like, oh, this could be an allegory for a comedy writer's room, the competition and who gets to sit where. And you can sense that, ooh, who's the new girl? Who does she think she is? And so that kind of felt very similar to me in terms of that experience.
Yeah.
Did that feel that way to you too?
That-
No, just the sort of crossover with the comedy, working in a comedy kind of hot, pressure cooker every week, coming up with jokes, and also the competition that these characters experience. It seems to be similar in terms of the cutthroat nature.
Yeah, it reminded me of Saturday Night Live, like when Vanessa's character is getting a makeover, and it feels like I relate to your character because that's how I felt when I started at Saturday Night Live. Like you're kind of green, and I remember wearing tights and like little girl dresses, and Marcy Klein was like, honey, we're gonna get you a makeover. You're gonna get your hair cut at Oscar Blondie, and we gotta get you new clothes. So I thought of, Vanessa reminded me of me when I first started SNL. Do you feel that way?
Yes, totally. I mean, I think also the fact that we're both coming from the Midwest makes like our characters kind of like they really click because in real life, like we have so many of the same, favorite restaurants in our mall or whatever, but it's just, I got to SNL and I was so Midwestern and everyone seemed like they knew what they were doing except for me.
And I also really like that our characters are friends because I feel like you're going through a hard time, and I love that you guys wrote my character really cares about you, and I genuinely like you, and I love seeing that genuine female friendship of women really relating to one another and caring about one another, and that's one of my favorite parts of the show.
That is a nice change,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
that they actually support each other at work.
Yeah.
And Jenifer, well done. You seem to be having a lot of fun in this role.
So much fun. Imagine.
That comes through.
Imagine being on set with these two. And I have to keep literally a straight face. Forget about it.
Well, on that note, what has playing this character allowed you to do as a performer that you haven't been able to do, or maybe people didn't think you had this in you? Because this feels like a different side of you than I've seen before.
It's huge. I mean, I walked in and I trusted Jeremy and baby girl so much. Jessi. I call everybody, I give everybody a little nickname. I call baby girl here, Vanessa. I call her Ice Cream. Is she the sweetest thing that ever lived? I
She's very
can't
sweet.
stand it. I can't. She's like Christmas morning. And I call Molly just a little ever-ready bunny. And she's just, I call her Molly Shenanigans. I just want to say that I've seen a little more of the show than most people because, I just finished Blackish, a big star. Now, I'm sorry. Shut up. I'm just kidding. Stop it. It was a joke. All right, it wasn't. Now, listen. There is not a weak link in this cast. Guys, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. They called me. I was getting ready to retire after Blackish. I'm sorry. I was going. It's enough already. Can't do it. It's what I breathe. But the writing, I'm not going to lie to you. I came up with Molly, not Vanessa. Vanessa's younger. I'm 65. And I came up with Molly. When I heard Molly's name after Blackish, I said, baby, you had me at hello. Anybody can slam themselves into some chairs, tongue kiss a tree.
She loves that.
And I can't, and that superstar shit, I'm like standing in front of Molly Shannon and I'm not supposed to laugh. And I'm telling you, I just love the environment. Everybody's happy because everybody's good. So we just, we get to play, But Patricia, she's an ice queen. She's the founder and CEO of SVN. And She's light years from Ruby Johnson on Blackish. So I am so happy to be doing this. I'm having a blast, really. Just a blast.
We love to hear that. That's very inspiring. And Matt, congratulations on your work. Very funny as always.
Thank you.
Yes. You have managed to elevate the trope of the bitchy assistant to glorious levels in this show, bringing new layers to it. So thank you. That's not easy.
Thank you.
What have you, well, sort of in keeping with what she just said, what have you learned working with Jenifer that has been impactful? Because I have a feeling the two of you have a thing chemistry-wise. A little bit?
I'm in love with Jenifer.
I had a sense.
But I've been in love with her for many years. And when I heard that Jenifer that it was going to be Jenifer, it was a moment where I really had to check myself. Like, am I really gonna do this show with Molly, Shannon, Vanessa Bayer, and Jenifer Lewis? I mean, picture you're me. Sometimes you walk into a room and it's the three of them. And it's so overwhelming for me. That's like a huge fan of comedy and a huge fan of everything that everyone here has done. But Jenifer specifically, I just soak everything up because, I mean, her stories, whenever she decides it's time to sing, the scenes that we share together where we look each other right in the eyes, I mean, I'll remember it forever, and I'm so excited to get to have this opportunity with you, and you know exactly how I feel. She FaceTimed me the other day, and I fumbled with my phone. I was like, Jesus. I mean, it's just, I love you so much, and I'm so honored.
He's so good at my side. You know, it's not easy. I know I'm not easy, but this baby, the chemistry is stupid. I love
It's
having
not
him.
hard at all to be reverent of, in awe of, and in love with Jenifer Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you. And Poonam? Oh my gosh, I didn't know what that sound was. It was Jennifer laughing.
That's called blushing, something I don't
love
do
it.
often.
So much joy. We feel it. Poonam, I was such a fan of you in the show Special on Netflix. If you haven't seen this amazing show, you are so fantastic.
Thank you.
It's really, is it ever coming back, by the way? It's really special.
They had enough disability.
Why not?
Netflix said that's enough disability representation, and we're done. Yeah.
It's very worth checking out, so please
Drag
do.
Netflix.
So
my managers are like, oh yeah. It's okay. At press today, someone asked me what my biggest white lie was, and I was like, my hair. It's a wig, and they were like, it's nice talking to you.
I can't handle you.
I can't handle me.
But this show, for which we are here tonight, is sort of a consummate workplace comedy with some twists. And I was wondering, how did the real workplace experience of making the show, how does it compare with what we see on screen? There seems to be some overlap with these sort of eccentricities and diversity of characters.
Well, I'll say we're not toxic at all. We all genuinely love each other, but we all are crazy in our own ways. And I mean that in a non-harmful way. We're all oddballs, but that's the brilliance of the casting of this show. Shout out to casting.
Shout out
Sherry
to
Sherry Thomas, Sharon Bialy.
Yeah. I mean, they did a brilliant job of finding a bunch of weirdos that each get their moment to shine. But no, Matt and I don't cuss each other out, ever. I'm not that weird.
Not yet.
Yeah. But it is in the sense that we're all coexisting in this micro universe together. Because when we were on set, it was a moment for us to forget about all the insanity of this world. It felt like we were in our own little planet. It was really magical, yeah.
It's wonderful to hear. Thank you. And Paul, hello. Nice to see you. Hi. So this is one of your first more straightforward comedies. You've done a lot of drama work, a lot of hour-long shows. What have you learned about making comedy, making scripted series that has surprised you and from which you've learned a lot?
Wow, that's a good question.
It's more like, what have you taught us? I
No,
being a real actor.
it's it was so loose to be on set all the time. It's cool to go to work when, people aren't having to cry. I mean, although I'm sure you had a couple of those scenes. But you just you breeze in and you're like, what are we gonna do today? We're gonna play, we're laughing, we're cracking each other up. Michael was throwing out different line readings. We were doing the pilot and we did the scene and he's like, all right, say this. And I was like, oh, all right, we're just gonna do this. All right, that's cool. I'll say that. And it's like, oh, we're gonna keep going. And then we just kept going without his suggestions. It was a lot of fun. It was
So being able to improv and
being able to improv, just being able to be easy on set, and the producers and the writers and the directors, the wonderful Heather and Desiree and Michael and Paul, right? Andy. Oh shit. Wow. Is he here? Andy. I'm sorry. I said my own name. They were great. It was. If I don't know anyone's name, I just say my own. They gave us so much good material and so many good things to think about that it was cool to just play around. I just never been part of a set that was like, what are we gonna do today? Let's just have some fun, and looking at other people. I mean, we were in those bullpen scenes, and I'm sitting in the back just looking at hilarious stuff happen. Like, God, how do they do that, And Jono and Matt and Bess, it's really, I don't know, I'm just really lucky to be here and thankful.
You're having fun.
Yes, having
Good.
fun.
I just want to say, though, also, Paul, in some ways I feel like you have the hardest part, in a sense, because to be that, the straight man sort of holding the things that Vanessa is throwing at you, and to keep it, Vanessa's fully nuts. She's a psycho, and, a true kook, and I mean this in the most loving way, but, I remember when Paul came into audition with Vanessa, and it was who can kind of keep it this real chemistry at the same time that Vanessa's just being, again, an absolute mental patient. It's really an amazing thing to watch, and incredible work.
How genuinely he plays it.
Yes.
It makes it so sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's much more to come for him in the
Much
series.
more to come.
Much more to come. No
Yes.
spoilers. And Aiden, hello. You look fabulous. I love your suit.
Thank you.
I think Beth Ann would approve, although it might be a little too tailored for her. A little too tailored.
Yeah.
So this character, she's kind of represents what a lot of us may feel sort of like the consummate influencer. She's, doing her thing, however we feel about that. How have you infused humanity in this character? Because on paper, a character like this can tend to be a little cartoonish. Obviously, it's well written. But what are you actively bringing to it to make sure that she's relatable? Because she's actually endearing, which I think is kind of a magic trick. That somebody like this, I'm like, oh, I actually kind of want to know more about her.
Well, thanks. I mean, that
You're
is
welcome.
so much the writing, truly. But I think with Beth Ann, it's she's just so insecure. People like that.
She's
that
threatened by Joanna, too. Very threatened.
Very threatened. Yeah, and that I think is kind of the key to Beth Ann, is that she just wants to be special so bad, and she's doing the most all the time, and her self-esteem is really hanging by a thread, and that's relatable, honestly.
Well, just one look at Instagram and we see this play out pretty much all day long. Right?
Yeah, right.
And what have you learned working with this crew? I know you've done a lot of work yourself, but has something come up for you that you feel, wow, this is new territory for me?
I mean, yeah, this is just genius, 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 genius. It's crazy. We were saying it kind of felt like a master class, just being around everyone. The comedy's insane. The acting's insane. Sometimes they would any one of these three would be running lines, but I thought they were just normally talking, and we're like, oh no, they're rehearsing. Yeah. But it's impossible to tell because they're all so authentic. They make everything feel so real, which in turn makes it so funny that I just maybe am learning to be more real. Authentic and real.
It's a good quality. It's a very good quality. Mm-hmm. Well, I wish we had more time, but obviously you guys have watched some episodes. You have some celebrating to do, but just wanted to thank everyone for coming and for each of you for making this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Thank you so much.